There are moments when life feels like it's at a standstill. You've prayed, fasted, stayed faithful, and done everything you know to do. Yet the door you've been waiting to open stays shut. The promise seems delayed. It's easy to wonder, did God forget about me? If that thought has ever crossed your mind, let me speak directly to you. Chosen one, your delay is not denial. It's divine strategy. Think about it. Every great story has a waiting period before the breakthrough. David was anointed as king long before he wore the crown. Joseph saw the dream long before the palace. Even Jesus spent years in quiet preparation before his public ministry began. Delay isn't a pause in your destiny. It's the invisible training ground where God works behind the scenes to prepare you for what's coming. Right now, while you feel like nothing is moving, God is moving everything. He's aligning people, positioning opportunities, and shaping your character for the weight of what He's about to release into your life. Sometimes the silence is strategic. The delay is part of a plan that's far bigger than what you can see. If you've ever felt like heaven went quiet on you, understand this. Silence doesn't mean absence. It often means strategy. God's plans are too precise to rush. He knows the exact moment when your preparation and His timing will meet, and that's when everything shifts. This message isn't for everyone. It's for the chosen ones, the ones who carry promises that seem delayed but not forgotten. If that's you, I want you to do something bold right now. Drop a 919 in the comments as a sign that you're trusting God's divine strategy even in this waiting season. When you comment, you're not just participating, you're declaring your faith publicly. And if this message resonates with your spirit, make sure you subscribe and help us reach our goal of 5,000 subscribers. This community is built for people like you, those walking through the refining seasons, holding on to faith and trusting divine timing. Your support doesn't just grow a channel, it strengthens a movement of chosen ones around the world. Don't scroll away thinking your delay is random. It's not. You're in the middle of a divine setup. The waiting is part of the story, not the end of it. Stay with me as we uncover why this delay is actually proof of your calling, not a sign of rejection. When you're chosen, delay isn't a punishment, it's preparation. Many people confuse waiting with wasting time, but in God's plan, every season of delay is a classroom where your spirit is being trained, your character is being shaped, and your faith is being tested. If God released everything you've been praying for right away, you might not have the strength, wisdom, or endurance to carry it. That's why He uses delays to build you from the inside out. Think about David. He was anointed as king while still a young shepherd boy, but he didn't sit on the throne immediately. Instead, he went back to tending sheep and fighting lions and bears in secret. Those hidden battles trained him for the moment he would face Goliath publicly. The delay between his anointing and his coronation was his training ground. The same happened with Joseph. He dreamed of ruling but ended up in a pit, then a prison. Those years in between were not wasted. They were the years that taught him how to lead, manage, and stay faithful under pressure. When the time came, he was ready not just to interpret Pharaoh's dream, but to govern a nation. Your delay works the same way. God is preparing you quietly so that when your moment comes, you won't break under the weight of your calling. Waiting seasons teach you discipline, resilience, and spiritual maturity. They refine your motives and strip away pride, impatience, and dependence on quick results. In the training ground, God is not trying to hurt you. He's equipping you. Many people want the crown but not the classroom. They pray for influence but avoid the seasons that shape their character. But the chosen ones understand something deeper. Before you can step into your promise, you have to be forged in the fire of preparation. Delays are often uncomfortable, but they're sacred spaces where God develops leaders in private before revealing them in public. In these hidden seasons, you learn to rely on God more than your plans. You grow in prayer, in patience, and in perseverance. These qualities aren't built overnight. They're formed through consistent endurance during times when nothing seems to be happening. So if you're in a delayed season, don't despise it. Recognize it for what it is, divine training. This is where spiritual champions are made. When God finally brings your breakthrough, you'll look back and realize that every moment of waiting was necessary to make you ready for what's coming. One of the hardest lessons for a chosen one to learn is the difference between divine timing and human timing. We live in a world that glorifies speed. We want everything now. We expect quick answers, instant success, and fast results. But God doesn't operate on human schedules. His timing is perfect, precise, and often very different from what we imagine. Understanding this difference is key to enduring delays without losing faith. Human timing is driven by emotion and urgency. It's that voice inside that says, I should have been further by now, or why hasn't this happened yet? It's based on personal expectations, cultural pressures, and comparison to others. Divine timing, on the other hand, is based on purpose. God looks at the bigger picture. He sees the beginning, the process, and the end all at once. He knows the exact season when a promise will bloom, and he refuses to release it before the soil of your life is ready to hold it. Think about the way a farmer works. Seeds are planted in one season, watered in another, and harvested much later. You can't rush the process no matter how much you want the fruit to appear. If you dig up the seed too early because you're impatient, you'll destroy what's growing underground. In the same way, God plants promises inside of you and then allows time for roots to grow deep before visible results show. Many chosen ones get discouraged because they mistake not yet for no. When doors don't open quickly, they assume something is wrong. But often the delay is God protecting the promise from premature exposure. Some blessings, if received too soon, can become burdens. Some positions, if stepped into without maturity, can lead to collapse. Divine timing ensures that when the door finally opens, you'll be ready to walk through it with strength, not insecurity. Another key point is that God's timing often involves aligning other people. Circumstances and events that you can't see while you're waiting. He's moving pieces behind the scenes to make sure everything fits perfectly. What feels like a standstill to you is actually a carefully synchronized setup in heaven's timeline. When you start to trust divine timing, your heart finds peace even when things seem slow. You stop forcing outcomes and start flowing with God's plan. Waiting becomes less about frustration and more about faith. Remember, God is never late. He's never early. He's always right on time. The gap between your timeline and his is where your faith grows the most. When you experience a delay, it's easy to think nothing is happening. You might feel like your prayers are hanging in the air unanswered, or that your efforts are going unnoticed. But for the chosen ones, delay is often the period when God is positioning you with precision. While you may not see visible movement, heaven is orchestrating details that will make sense later. Strategic positioning is one of the most powerful reasons for divine delay. Imagine a grand chessboard. Every piece moves with intention. A skilled player doesn't rush their moves. They think ahead, anticipating what's needed several steps in advance. God works the same way. While you wait, he's shifting people, opportunities, and situations into place so that when the time comes, everything connects seamlessly. This is not wasted time, it's strategic alignment. Look at the story of Esther. Before she became queen, she had to go through a long season of preparation and waiting. During that time, God was positioning her in a palace she never planned to enter, surrounding her with people she never expected to meet. When the right moment came, everything she endured made sense. Her placement wasn't random, it was strategic. Joseph's journey is another example. From the pit to Potiphar's house to prison, each step seemed like a setback. But in reality, each delay was a positioning move. God was setting him up to be in the exact place Pharaoh would need him. If Joseph had been released from prison earlier or later, he might have missed the divine appointment that elevated him to power. Strategic positioning often requires stillness. You may feel restless, but God isn't in a hurry. He knows exactly when to bring certain people into your life and when to remove others. Some relationships or environments you thought were essential may fade during your delay. But that's part of the positioning. He's clearing out what doesn't align with your destiny so you can step into the right place at the right time. This is why forcing doors open too soon can be dangerous. If you arrive before God positions everything, you may walk into something half-formed and fragile. But when you let him do it his way, you'll find yourself in the right environment, with the right resources at the right moment. The beauty of strategic positioning is that it often makes sense only in hindsight. One day you'll look back on this season of delay and realize that every detour, closed door, and pause had a purpose. God wasn't ignoring you. He was aligning everything for your breakthrough. Delays have a way of stripping away illusions. When everything is moving fast and doors open easily, it's easy to rely on our own abilities, plans, and timelines. But when God places a delay in your journey, it exposes where your trust truly lies. For the chosen ones, this is a crucial part of the process. God uses waiting seasons to deepen your dependence on him, not your own strength. When you're in a delay, you can't force outcomes. You can't manipulate timing. You can't make things happen just because you want them to. That sense of powerlessness is not a punishment. It's a divine setup. God allows you to reach the end of your own strategies, so that you can discover the strength that only comes from leaning fully on him. Think about the Israelites in the wilderness. God could have taken them straight to the promised land, but he led them through a long journey instead. Why? To teach them how to rely on his provision, not their own plans. They learned to depend on manna from heaven, water from rocks, and his guidance through the cloud by day and fire by night. Their delay revealed their dependence or lack of it on God. For many chosen ones, delay is where faith is refined. It's easy to trust God when blessings are flowing and everything feels certain, but trusting him in silence, when prayers seem unanswered and progress looks invisible, is a different kind of faith. That's the faith that produces maturity. In these seasons, you start to pray differently. Instead of asking when all the time, you begin to say, Lord, strengthen me while I wait. Your worship shifts from being conditional to unconditional. Your trust moves from your desired outcome to his character. You stop treating God like a schedule keeper and start honoring him as the author of time itself. Delays also expose hidden attachments. You discover what you've been relying on emotionally or mentally. Maybe it's your own timing, your abilities, or other people's approval. When those props are removed, you have no choice but to lean into God completely. And that's exactly what he wants. Not because he needs your dependence, but because you need his strength to carry what's coming. This kind of dependence builds resilience. It teaches you that even when nothing seems to move, God is still enough. It grows a confidence that isn't tied to circumstances, but to his faithfulness. So when you find yourself in a long delay, don't see it as abandonment. See it as an invitation. God is drawing you closer, teaching you to trust him not just for the destination, but through the journey. This depth of dependence is what separates the chosen ones from the crowd. When God delays something in the life of a chosen one, there are often clear signs that it's not rejection, but divine strategy. These signs might not always be loud, but they're consistent, and if you look closely, you'll notice patterns that point to God's hand at work. Understanding these signs helps you wait with confidence instead of frustration. 1. Closed doors that don't make sense. There are moments when everything seems ready, yet the door remains firmly shut. You might have prepared, prayed, and positioned yourself, but the opportunity still slips away. When this happens without a clear reason, it's often God's way of saying, not yet. Strategic delays are marked by closed doors that feel out of your control. They're not a reflection of your inadequacy. They're a reflection of God's protection. 2. Redirection without explanation. Sometimes God reroutes your plans abruptly. You might sense a sudden shift in your spirit or find yourself drawn in a different direction without fully understanding why. These redirections are usually strategic. God is aligning you with something better than what you had in mind, even if you can't see the full picture yet. Chosen ones often experience unexpected turns that later reveal divine precision. 3. A deep inner peace despite external stillness. One of the most overlooked signs of a strategic delay is peace. Even though nothing seems to be moving on the outside, there's an unexplainable calm inside. That peace is the Holy Spirit's way of assuring you that you're right where you need to be. If God had truly denied something, you'd feel a clear sense of release or a redirection, not quiet confidence. Choice, prophetic confirmations, or recurring messages. When God is delaying for a purpose, he often reinforces the message through repetition. You may hear the same scripture repeatedly, receive confirmations in unexpected places, or encounter messages about waiting, preparation, or timing over and over again. These aren't coincidences. They're divine reminders to stay patient, because he's working behind the scenes. 5. Growth happening beneath the surface. Strategic delays are rarely idle periods. Even if your circumstances look unchanged, you'll notice personal growth. Your prayer life deepens, your perspective matures, and your spiritual discernment sharpens. God often develops your inner world long before he changes your outer situation. This unseen growth is a strong indicator that the delay has purpose. So opportunities aligning in unexpected ways. As time passes, you may start noticing small shifts, people coming into your life unexpectedly, doors opening that weren't even on your radar, or resources appearing at just the right moment. These alignments are God's way of quietly positioning things for your breakthrough. Recognizing these signs transforms the way you see your waiting season. Instead of doubting, you start discerning. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start saying, God, I see what you're doing. Strategic delays come with quiet fingerprints of divine order all over them. So if you're noticing these patterns, take heart. Your delay isn't a no, it's a not yet, because I'm setting things up perfectly. When God finally moves, he doesn't ease in slowly. He acts with precision. One moment, it can feel like nothing is happening, and the next, everything starts aligning at once. For the chosen ones, breakthroughs often arrive suddenly. After long seasons of silence and preparation, this is the nature of divine timing. It may seem slow, but when the appointed moment comes, nothing can stop it. Think about Joseph again. For years he endured betrayal, false accusations, and imprisonment. His life looked like a string of delays and disappointments, but in a single day everything changed. Pharaoh called him out of prison, and within hours, Joseph went from prisoner to second in command over Egypt. That's how divine breakthroughs happen, swiftly and powerfully, when the season is ripe. This sudden shift isn't random. It's the result of all the positioning, preparation, and refining that took place in the waiting period. While you were praying, growing, and trusting, God was setting the stage. When his timing arrives, the doors that once wouldn't budge swing open without resistance. The opportunities that seem distant suddenly find their way to you. Relationships, resources, and favor begin to align with supernatural ease. Breakthroughs from God also carry a sense of undeniable clarity. You don't have to force them. You don't have to manipulate circumstances or beg for validation. Everything unfolds with a natural flow that makes you realize this is God's doing. It often comes with peace, acceleration, and favor that no human effort could have achieved. Another important truth is that divine breakthroughs are always on time, even if they're not on your time. God knows the exact moment when you're ready. The environment is prepared, and the impact will be greatest. That's why rushing ahead of His timing can lead to frustration, while trusting His schedule leads to fulfillment. Many chosen ones experience this exact pattern. Years of waiting followed by rapid elevation. It can feel overwhelming at first because so much happens so fast, but it's also a powerful reminder that God never forgot you. Every prayer, every tear, every moment of silence had purpose. If you're in a waiting season now, don't lose hope. When God's moment comes, it will happen right on time, not a minute late. What once felt like a long delay will make perfect sense as the pieces come together in ways you couldn't have orchestrated yourself. Your role is to stay ready, keep your faith strong, keep your heart clean, and stay aligned with His will. When breakthrough arrives, you won't need to chase it. It will meet you where you are. Chosen one, if this message has stirred something in your spirit, that's because you're not just hearing words, you're being reminded of what heaven has already spoken over your life. Your delay is not random. It's not God ignoring you. It's not rejection. It's divine strategy. Every closed door, every quiet season, and every redirection is part of a carefully crafted plan designed to prepare and position you for what's coming. This is your moment to shift how you see your waiting season. Instead of questioning God's timing, choose to trust it. Instead of doubting your path, remind yourself that you are walking under divine orchestration. What you can't see right now will make sense later, but your faith has to hold firm in the in-between. I want to challenge you to take a bold step of faith right here. Drop a $9.99 in the comments if you're declaring today, I trust God's timing for my life. Let this comment section become a space of unity and faith, a place where chosen ones from around the world stand together, trusting in God's plan even when it's not clear. If this message has blessed you, subscribe to the channel and help us reach our goal of 5,000 subscribers. Your support doesn't just grow a platform. It strengthens a community of people walking through similar journeys of faith, waiting, and divine preparation. Every like, share, and comment helps this message reach someone else who may be sitting in silence, wondering if their delay has meaning. Remember this truth as you leave. God has not forgotten you. The silence is not abandonment. The delay is not denial. You are being strategically prepared for something bigger than you can imagine. Breakthrough is on the way, and when it comes, it will make every tear, every prayer, and every waiting moment worth it. Stand firm. Keep your heart steady. Trust His process. You are part of a divine story, and this chapter of waiting is essential to the ending God has written for you. Your role is to stay faithful until the page turns. This isn't the end, it's the setup. The next season will reveal why this one had to unfold the way it did. So keep watching, keep believing, and keep trusting. Your breakthrough will arrive right on time.